come in for the audition, I was like, I got to be a part of this project. I knew just from reading a portion this was good, how it was written, and the character, knew exactly who I wanted to play. So I came in, had a game plan, and they liked what they saw, and they gave me the part that I wanted. And, you know, and when I read the full script, dude, I was at work reading it at work in between taking calls, and I just lost it when I got to the end, like, man, they got something here. So, yeah.
How's the movie doing? Like, okay, so you went ahead and you're able. We're at the premiere here at Ohio Media School.
Right.
What is the future in terms of that particular project? Like, how does it work going forward?
You know, I don't really know, but I know it has a lot of potential. And I actually thought about talking to Ron and Shanae about that because they can make a full-length film out of this.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Agree. I mean, if you think about where they start the project, there's a lot of story before that. How they got into, you know, the position they're in, how they met, you know, how they became into power, the two characters, Berg and C-Note, and then what happens after that film. There's a lot of story that could be told about this project, and I really think they need to go ahead and make it a full-length film or make it a series, you know, web series.
Maybe like Netflix.
Yeah,
they might be
you know, I mean,
interested in something like that.
It's got the potential. You get the right people endorsing the right people supporting it. It's got the story behind it. You know what I mean? You just need to market it and get the right thing out there. I mean, I already submitted it to IMDb. It got credited. So, you know. So
that is
really?
That's awesome.
It's actually credited on IMDb right now. So, yeah. They didn't know that, but they might know now.
That's big time, and that's what we do here at Ohio Media School, the type of opportunities that are available. Speaking of Netflix, I read somewhere that you do like to binge on Netflix.
Yeah, man, I love my Netflix. You know, it's my time, me time. You know what I mean? I just got through finishing not too long ago, 13 Reasons Why. When I'm watching Netflix, man, I don't just watch Netflix just for the sake of. I'm watching the actors. Like, there's some stuff that I try to watch, and I'm like 20 minutes in, and I'm like, I can't do it. You know, so, like, I need some real acting. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just give me some half acting. I need real acting. And so, when I try to watch one film before I started watching 13 Reasons Why, couldn't do it after the first episode. I made it 20 minutes in. It's like, I'm done. I got to find something else. Somebody who told me about 13 Reasons Why, I got into that. And, man, these kids, they younger, you know what I mean? But they powerful, you know what I mean? And that's what I was looking for. I want that presence. That on-camera presence, so I study that. I study how they, you know, behave on camera, when the camera's on them, when the camera's not on them, and, you know, how they react to certain situations. And I kind of act almost while I'm watching it, how would I react to it, you know?
Okay,
I mean?
yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, it's not just me watching a Netflix film, it's me trying to study other actors.
Well, binging on Netflix, binging in general is... that's what's hot right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And we talk again, Brian and I. We talk about Game of Thrones and those different series.
Yeah.
What's your favorite series?
Man,
right now?
You know what? I don't have a favorite series. But,
okay.
You know, I wish I started from the beginning of Game of Thrones. I haven't gotten into it. I haven't seen it. But
come on now.
I know I'm missing something. No, don't get me wrong. I know I'm missing something. But the problem is I'm like 8 seasons behind. You know what I mean?
You got plenty of time.
You do, though, because I started at the beginning, too.
Yeah, you got one season left. There's one episode left in this season. And then we're, unfortunately, to me and Tyson's displeasure, there's going to be 6 episodes? Six episodes in the final season, which is just ridiculous, but that's a different story.
Each one's 2 hours.
You have, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, well, never mind. I'm happy again.
Yeah.
I'm happy again. And that's crazy that they're doing 6 episodes, 2 hours each. They're already 57 to 60 plus minutes. I believe the last episode was at 70. Was it 74?
Yeah, 70 minutes.
70? Okay.
I mean, that is the hottest show right now. It's like that's all you hear about it on Facebook, on the internet. Somebody's talking about the show. I go to work, and that's what I hear about. Somebody talking about, you know, Game of Thrones. And, yeah, I know I need to get into it because I know there's a lot to learn from just watching that show, going back to the studying the actors and how they interact. So, I got to get into that.
And so, you know, I know you have an extensive catalog of movie memories and movie history. I'm sure you're boned up on that. And so, who's an actor that you model yourself after?
You know, I honestly like I like Denzel for his camera presence, his strength on camera. You know what I mean? That's somebody that's how I want to be. When you see Denzel, sometimes he's just very powerful on camera, and you just feel that presence. And I want that on camera. And another person that I really, really love for his ability to just become a character is Johnny Depp.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely.
you watch his film, you don't see Johnny Depp. You're not saying that's Johnny Depp being this character. You're saying he is that character. There's no Johnny Depp about it. Whoever he's playing, that's that person. You know what I mean? And I want people to see me on camera like that. You know, when they see Jermaine, they don't see Jermaine on camera. It's not Jermaine acting as somebody. It's just I'm watching this guy live his life. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to have. And, you know, that's where I aspire to be. So those are two actors that inspire me as an actor.
Wow. Okay. And so you and I, we go back a long way.
Long way, bro.
We went to high school together, came up hooping, playing basketball together. And we have our little stories about that and everything. Growing up out in Hilliard, it was an interesting time for us growing up. Just real quickly before we wrap up, you know, I mean, what happened? I know you went out to Arizona State to go to school and everything. I mean, did you ever think about playing ball there? Like, what happened with your basketball career?
Well, you know, I actually graduated from Ohio State, so I did.
Okay.
I went out to Arizona after I graduated. Just wanted to get away from the snow life.
I feel it.
You know, and have fun. That's where I found acting. But you know,
Wow.
I love basketball, man. I love basketball, and when I was going to school, I actually wanted to try to walk on at Ohio State. You know, life hit, got into some hard times, and ended up having to drop out. And there went the basketball career, man.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
you know, I was on top of it. My game was pretty tight at one point. I had a strong inside-outside game, man. And I was actually playing up against some people who actually was on the Ohio State team. And, you know, and I was out showing them on the court. And they gave me a lot of respect after the game because, you know, they were, you know, some ballers. And so they were clowning our team. My team didn't have, you know, the talent they had. But, you know, I was trying to hold my team together and, I showed them up a little bit a couple times and had them clowning their own players, you know.
Word.
But and so I got a little respect on the court, and I knew I had the potential at that moment. I knew I had the potential to play at the college level. But like I said, it's, you know, life hits sometimes, and you don't always get a chance to follow through on some of those things. So, but I decided to go to medical school. That's what I wanted to do at the time. So I traded the ball in for the book, so to speak, and went that direction.
Trying to make that money like my man Neymar, which we're going to talk about on the other side. Some lawsuits being flown around and pettiness, and so we're going to get into that right after the break. Stay with us. More Let That Sink In.
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios at the Ohio Media School in Columbus, Ohio. Your home for all the latest sports news and talk. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Nasty's Sports Bar in Reynoldsburg is under new management. Located at 6150 East Main Street, the home for Taco Tuesday is rejuvenated and the home for great food and family fun. Nasty's Sports Bar is a great place for happy hour, serving $2 domestics, $3 glasses of wine, and $5 appetizers. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 614-864-2827 to find out the daily specials. Nasty's. Great food, family fun, with a cool name.
Listen to ScoreOnAir.com for your chance to win. Every Friday, we will be giving away a prize pack, and here's how you can qualify. Send us a message with your name, phone number, email, and date of birth to our Facebook or Twitter account. Just search Your Score on Air, or you can call or text any of our live shows at 614-641-0674 and tell them you want to win. It's that easy. A new winner will be selected every Friday at 7 p.m. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
I'm Jake Safranco with your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Now here's the Sports Doc, Dr. Chris Stankovich.
Does your son or daughter struggle with nerves when it comes to competing in sports? If so, it's important to know that this is perfectly normal. In fact, professional athletes struggle with the very same anxieties that your son or daughter does while competing. Nerves are a result largely because of cognitive appraisals, and what that means is how we perceive things often dictates how our bodies will respond. You might want to think of this as fight or flight. In fact, when I work with with athletes, I ask them, do they view pressure situations as challenges or do they see them as threats? If they view them as challenges, they often gain confidence, sharpen their focus, and become even more motivated to succeed. But if they see the situation as threatening, that's when anxiety creeps in and usually compounds matters. So it's important that you look at skills that can help, including deep breathing, using imagery, and reminding your child of the importance of positive self-talk.
This has been your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Enrolling now, visit beonair.com.
Matty Ice here, proud alum of the Ohio Media School. Are you looking for a new career? Not just a job, but a fulfilling career? If you want to work in media, radio, television, sports broadcasting, or film and video production, you need to check out the Ohio Media School's Columbus campus today. Their updated radio and television broadcasting program will even have you ready to work in a field you'll love in just 8 months. Stop by the Ohio Media School's audio and video studios today to see it for yourself. Visit beonair.com. That's beonair.com.
The Ohio Media School presents the inaugural Mastermind Exhibition, brought to you by the Pixel Design Group, Thursday, August 17th, 2017, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This year's theme is BYOA, Bring Your Own Audience. As a media professional or someone aspiring to be one, you don't want to miss the 3 breakout sessions at Mastermind Exhibition, led by top-notch media professionals that will teach you how to digitize your brand, entertain your audience, and find your audience. For more information and to RSVP for this free event, call 614-655-5250 and follow us on all social media platforms. Act now. Seats are limited.
Do you like talking Buckeyes?
Yes! Oh my God!
So do we. Just not all the time.
We're home for the largest variety of sports talk. This is the new generation of sports talk radio. ScoreOnAir.com, the score.
Welcome back, everybody, to Let That Sink In, part of the new generation of Sports Talk Radio here on ScoreOnAir.com. We are talking all things sports, combat sports, basketball, football, and everything in between. If you want to join the talk, give us a call, 614-641-0674. We, of course, are streaming live on YouTube. Just type in Score on Air Live, and you'll see us streaming live in the studio. All right, man, and we got a special guest in the house. We've got an actor, man. Got an actor trying to make his dreams come true, man. And go ahead and introduce yourself again, just in case we got somebody coming in. All right, man, that's a good thing. All right, man, so we are going to kick into the world of combat sports. And we'll go ahead and ask our special guest what you think of the Mayweather and McGregor fight, man. Who you got? All right, that's what I like to hear, man.
It's two separate sports, and you're trying to collide it together and trying to find out who's better athlete. And it doesn't work. It's like trying to say who's stronger. It's like trying to say who's stronger. Someone who can bench press or someone who does a lot of push-ups. You know, it's not the same.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you got one discipline that's strictly hands, and the other, everything, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Kickboxing.
You're limiting one athlete to try to be at the level of somebody who trains in just one thing. You know what I mean?
The one thing you say about McGregor being the martial arts he has the Bruce Lee mindset of be like water. You put water into a cup, becomes a cup. He's going to be the type of person who's going to adapt. So he's going to adapt to the rule set. I mean, he's obviously taking it serious with bringing in a Hall of Fame referee like Joe Cortez. He's going over the rules, and Cortez is making sure, hey, there's certain things you do in MMA. I want to make sure, that you can get away with that. You can't get away with that, and you can't get away with this. But, because the clinch is so different. I mean, like I said, you're doing mixed martial arts. The clinch is going to be a little bit different when you tie up in the boxing ring. Now, they have said that the betting odds for this are going to be Super Bowl level.
You know, I believe it because everybody's interested in it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big thing. Everybody's watching it. Everyone's talking about it, so they know what they were doing. I'm curious to see what happens though.
Now, and what's
I don't
interesting,
really have a favorite side to pick. You know, I think Mayweather's going to take it just because it is his sport.
and like I said, I was on the fence at first with the whole, you know, within 4 to 5 rounds, McGregor has the better chance the longer it goes. Obviously, Mayweather, because the thing is, like I said, I'll ask you since you are the mixed martial arts guy. There's only so many tricks that McGregor can come up with before, okay, Floyd's like, okay, download it. Download it. You know what I mean? Can't keep going to the same bag of tricks, and Floyd's not going to go ahead, download that, figure it out, have the timing for it and everything. Now, one thing that did come out that him and Floyd Sr. are worried about the dirty fighting tactics. So you think McGregor's going to be dirty?
You know, it's kind of part of the sport, man. You know,
I mean, Floyd himself is dirty in the sense he's been known to, you know, flush an elbow behind some of his punches to cut the eyebrow.
Right.
And it happened in the Victor Ortiz fight. You know what I mean? That's why Victor Ortiz said that's why he got frustrated and he headbutted him, which caused, you know, the whole sucker punch follow up and all that transpired afterwards. That's a whole nother debate itself from that fight. Keep your hands up at all times.
Prides himself on his defense, so you know he should be able to back it up with, you know.
I think
he's going to come with something. We don't know what, but you know, at the end of the day, hey, you chose to be a part of this, so
yeah,
you got to be able to back it up with your defense and your offense. So I mean, it is a sport, and it's a sport that requires that. You know, so it happens whether or not you're a strict boxer or whether you're an MMA fighter. There's always some dirty tactics.
Oh yeah, everybody. There's something. I mean, I don't think he's going to bend the rules just because it'd be too much of a hefty fine.
No, yeah,
or such a hefty fine.
Yeah,
I don't think he wants a better way.
Try to do it, but it may happen.
Exactly, 90% of his purse. You know what I mean? I don't think he want. I think that's what was in the contract, that if he did any kind of illegal MMA move like a kick or something like that, that it would be like 90% of his purse.
Wow.
So I don't know if anybody wants to throw away like
$180
$180 million. Yeah, I mean, it would, for the fans, it would be so worth it. Just a head kick and just just to see that.
I would love to see it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people ask. Like, yeah, I would just love to see it. But I mean, it'd be too many lawsuits because, again, talking about the betting odds now, when it started out, the betting odds were like, you know, Mayweather -1,000
really?
So
Wow.
but now coming in this last week, the odds are actually a -500 in Mayweather's favor to a plus for McGregor, +400 for McGregor. So that's a very wide margin as far as where it started at. Of course, I know you showed some of the Mayweather dance challenge and all that stuff.
Oh man, I haven't gotten into all that.
Okay, again, you're an MMA guy,
right?
You know that what he was doing was an actual shoulder workout and stuff like that. Boxers don't particularly pure boxing heads particularly don't know that because it's not a warm up. They really do, and it does feel. I mean, there's something when I did my martial arts and stuff like that, you do something that's a warm up, and it does feel silly and you look silly, but you feel what it's doing.
Yeah,
and exactly. Yes. Where was your MMA gym at?
You know, I did a little bit. It was out before I moved to Arizona, actually, it was in Grove City.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact name of it, but I only went there a couple times.
Was it Pillagers? Was it Pillagers Gym?
No,
okay.
It wasn't that. It could be the same place, and they just changed the name.
Okay.
Because like I said, I've been out in Arizona. I was out there for about 8-9 years, so yeah, a lot's changed since I've been back. Say the least.
So, what do you think about the whole, like, have you watched any of, like, the All Access or the UFC embedded videos?
You know what, I don't usually keep up with it until the day or close to, and then I really start following and see what everyone's talking about, but yeah.
So, any of Floyd, do you think Floyd's just trolling when he's, like, you see him out partying? Because he's out roller skating.
That's his game, is to get in your head.
Now, my thing with the other stuff I understand, like the partying and all that, but, like, him roller skating, I'm like, you can risk hurting your wrist or an ankle or anything. I mean, he's not a professional skater.
Right.
So doing something like that. Now, I've already heard rumors that his hand is injured. Again.
Stop.
I don't know.
Is it trolling?
Stop.
Is it trolling? But it actually came from Floyd Sr. himself. So again,
Stop.
Could be trolling.
He's not.
Could
hurt.
be that.
Yeah.
I don't
Stop.
He's not
Like,
hurt.
trying to sell tickets for the
I
fight.
think that's just what he does. That's a part of his whole.
That's part of the
MMO.
job.
Yeah, he's trying to get in. He's trying to get in your head. Like he's just taking it slightly.
Yeah.
This ain't even a big deal. I'm gonna be in and ring out the ring in no time. I think that's pretty much.
Do you think he puts him away or he takes him to distance?
Say that again.
Do you think Floyd puts him away or takes him to distance? I think he should just play it safe and get to 50-0.
Yeah, I think if he's I go in and do your job. That's what I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go into there's been so much talk that at this point you got to handle business.
That. It's like I want to see Floyd get there, but I'm like, do it the way you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Don't risk nothing. Just
Yeah.
don't, because I think in the end that will hurt his legacy because he's built it up around being undefeated. And he has 40-91 from the MMA guy. You know what I mean? That more so tarnishes his legacy more than helps it. You know what I mean? And my thing is, Floyd has everything to lose. Conor has. He doesn't lose anyway. If he loses, he was supposed to lose.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If he wins,
Vegas is going to take the biggest loss in the history of Las Vegas.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
There's going to be a lot of Matt Wise guys out there.
Yeah, and Floyd gains nothing but a big purse in his pocket again. That's what he obviously.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's the only reason he's doing the fight. He looks to make. I mean, he's going to make somewhere between $350 to $380 after Uncle Sam gets his. Probably $250 at the most. You know what I mean? But,
Poor guy. Only $250.
well, I mean, he didn't pay. He didn't pay his taxes for the Pacquiao fight.
Is that proven? Can we get some actual documentation? From the IRS of the United States government of America. I want to see it because I get that the rumors, but I got to see it.
No rumors. This
before.
was out at the press conference. Everything, and I think it was an excess of like $22 million is how much he owes. I mean, you can say that's chump change to him. That's still $22 million. You know what I mean?
I agree,
That's
but
still a lot of money.
But still, I want the IRS to come out with a sworn statement that says this is true. Until then, I don't believe it.
Did Trump hire a new IRS director? Because if it was the old one, I would trust him. But if Trump put him in there, those books might be
count. He can't count.
Mr. Look at the solar flare and everything. Gee. God, how can you be? This guy's running the free world. He's looking at the. Oh man, that's
a whole.
He doesn't need to see the rule. Govern.
God, this guy has his hands on the buttons, man. He don't even see which ones after.
Is this one? It was really loud. Is that the one? No, it's not the light.
The puppet master.
Oh my God! All right,
man, it's Illuminati.
When we come back, I'm just going to announce the UFC 217 card, and then we are going to switch things over back into. What do you got?
Are we going to Neymar next?
Neymar.
We're Neymar.
When we come back here,
Talking about big money.
That's big money.
Big money.
Big money, big money, big money. No whammies.
Stay tuned. When we come back here on Let That Sink In, part of the new generation of sports talk radio here on ScoreOnAir.com.
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios at the Ohio Media School in Columbus, Ohio. Your home for all the latest sports news and talk. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Are you a sports fan? Do you have a mobile phone? Great, that's all you need to stay up to date with ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio, with original talk shows starting every 2 hours, covering every sport from every angle.
From basketball
to hockey
to martial arts.
Fantasy football.
We cover all Ohio sports. Just go to ScoreOnAir.com or download the TuneIn Radio app and search Score On Air. You'll be part of the action in no time. Whether you're stuck in traffic, at the grocery store, studying at the library, anywhere for that matter. Tune in anytime to get your sports fix. Follow us on social media or go to ScoreOnAir.com for even more original content, including play-by-play of local high school and college games, sports articles, and podcasts. ScoreOnAir.com is your home for the best analysis, coverage, and lukewarm sports takes. The best part, we're broadcasting live right here in Columbus.
IO.
ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio.
The Score.
NWA Midwest Championship Wrestling is looking for interns. Have you heard of Ric Flair? Well, this is the company that brought you Ric Flair before he went to the WWE, and we're looking for interns to work behind the scenes hand in hand with production, with audio, with video, and with podcasts and radio. Contact Damon Dury, the big dog, at 740-971-3968.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
The new generation of Sports Talk Radio. Here's your ScoreOnAir.com Score Center update.
This is G-Rob at your Score On Air studios with your Score Center update. Former Ohio State Buckeye had the Clippers number again at Huntington Park in Columbus, Ohio. Pitching the final 1 2/3 innings, he struck out 4 of the 5 batters he faced to lock down Game 2 for the Rochester Red Wings. Offensive highlights in this one for the Clippers were both Yandy Diaz and Tyler Naquin combining for 6 hits. Naquin driving in 2 on doubles, scoring Michael Martinez both in the first and 8th inning. Adam Pluko takes the mound Thursday afternoon at 12:35 at Huntington Park. Fresh off a 5-home run performance by the Indians Tuesday night in Minnesota, the Tribe and Twins were rained out Wednesday. The two teams will meet Thursday in a day-night doubleheader with Carlos Carrasco in Game 1 and crafty lefty Ryan Merritt starting the nightcap. At Coors Field, the Rockies scored an impressive 17 runs against the visiting Atlanta Braves. Trevor Story was the headline in this one.
Story drives this one, and it'll stay fair, and get out of here. High fly ball, deep left field. This one's got a chance. This one's gone. A 2-home run night for Trevor Story.
For all your scores, news, and highlights, keep it locked right here. ScoreOnAir.com, The Score.
You're listening to the home of heart-pounding, adrenaline-pumping sports.
Broadcasting from Ohio Media School in the greatest city in the state.
In the greatest state in the country.
In the greatest country in the world.
You're listening to ScoreOnAir.com.
Welcome back into the new generation of sports talk.
Welcome back, everybody. To
Do you want me to drop it?
Yeah.
Am I on? I can't
we
hear
are
you.
on. Yes.
My headphones up.
Welcome back to
Turn the snare down.
Let that sink in. Part of the new generation of sports. I'm sorry, we're processing some new news over the break.
Sorry, Tyson.
Go ahead, man. You go ahead and say it.
Sorry, Tyson. I didn't mean to drop an atomic bomb on you like Donald Trump.
Man.
Because it's bad news, and that's all he comes with.
Jones, come on, man.
And an exclusive report just came out that John Jones tests positive for steroids after UFC 214 and has been stripped of the light heavyweight championship.
Come on,
again.
Jones. Come on, man. What is going on?
You had to know that was coming. You had to know.
He's tainted his legacy now, man. I don't understand this kid, man. What's going on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard. I'm a big John Jones fan, and I tried to give him chance after chance.
Yeah, man.
After chance.
Okay.
I wasn't the biggest fan, and he won me over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. And now, because especially from a comeback from what everything he'd been through, and I'm like, man, everybody loves a good comeback story. And now, come on, man.
Yeah. The
greatest talent to grace the octagon, and he just
rhino pills, hit and run, cocaine.
Man.
And I mean, all the talent in the world, and I think that any of us have seen him. I think all of us have seen him fight.
Absolutely.
And you can he jumps off the screen. He's just different than everybody else.
He's this age,
and
Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah,
he really is.
He
like,
really
as far
is.
as like his outside antics, you know what I mean? It's like his outside antics are destroying the talent that he is inside.
And at least Tyson had a reign.
Yeah.
I mean, John Jones.
Well, he did. You know,
John Jones did a little bit, but Tyson had. I mean, what? 8 years ish.
Jones has been ruling for.
Has he?
6.
For a while, yeah.
It's
Is it?
6
Okay.
years, man. Yeah, I mean, he's on top for the past. I mean, if you count him not being there the past year, 5.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
But I mean, again, the outside antics. Again, youngest UFC champion, just like Mike Tyson was the youngest heavyweight boxing champion of all time.
Yeah.
It's the outside antics that are crumbling them from the inside, man. It's just like, man.
Yeah, it's.
I got to process that. I'm just going to make the UFC 217 announcement, and I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take over. UFC 217 is the next UFC card.
It's Turnaball.
Oh, man.
Is the anabolic steroid.
Yeah, God.
Sorry, Tyson.
No, just yeah. So this will be in MSG in Madison Square Garden. This will be the second one for the UFC. This one gets 7 fights. It'll be headline for the middleweight championship between Michael Bisping and the return of the welterweight king fighting at middleweight, though. George St. Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
Co-main event will be Cody Garbrandt versus T.J. Dillashaw. Oh, God, I can't wait for that one. For the bantamweight title. Paulo Brachachiha, say that 3 times fast, versus Johnny Hendricks.
Woo. Is that a boy?
Curtis Blades versus Aleksei Olenek.
There's a good name.
Corey Anderson versus Patrick Cummins. Oh, here we go. Whew, ready. Gezumurad Antigulov versus Ayan Kutalaba. I can't make these up. Ricardo Ramos versus Aman Zahabi. All right, so we are getting 7 fights for the UFC 217 card. Now, if GSP is the win,
great job, Tyson.
Yeah,
great job.
Mouthful for those. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying my best not to butcher those names. So if GSP is the win against Michael Bisping, in the contract, it is mandatory that he defends it against Michael Whitaker, because I know his plans were to at least maybe go back down and recapture his welterweight title, or a super fight between Conor McGregor upon his return and cut down to 155 for the lightweight title.
Oh, my goodness.
So if GSP does win the middleweight title, he would join the ranks and likes of Randy Couture, BJ Penn, and, of course, the notorious Conor McGregor for being champions in 2 different weight classes. Conor being the only dual champion at the same time. So that's all I got after the Jones announcement, man. Because
I'm sorry to break your heart, but I didn't do it, Tyson. It's Johnny.
Go ahead. Where are y'all going into, man? I can't.
So yeah, let's touch on this. Let's touch on Neymar just to let the processing begin.
Okay, let's. Neymar Jr. Of course, all of you that listen to our show know that he was sold for $222 million to Paris Saint-Germain. Dead tongue.
You're not as good as Tyson with the pronunciations.
No, I'm not that great with the French.
You got to flip the tongue.
French is it's not easy for me. Not easy for me. But anyway, so Neymar Jr., who is considered to be maybe the 3rd best player in the world, has been for some time now, playing with Barcelona, who, to their credit, has actually underachieved the last few years, even though they have struggled in goal. They saw their main rival, Real Madrid, hoist the biggest trophy outside of the World Cup, the Champions League trophy, the last 2 years in a row, where they struggled a little bit with other opposition trying to make it to that final game against their rivals. Also, they did win it 3 years ago, though, but they've seen Atletico Madrid go twice to the championship against Real Madrid as well. And so that's making them not feel very good. They have Lionel Messi, who is considered to be maybe the best player in the world, and biting Luis Suarez, if anyone knows.
But Suarez is a dog still.
He's a biter.
He's a biter, but he's a dog.
He's a biter. But,
because he's a hungry dog. So
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so
how did you lose with those 3 guys?
It's goalkeeping in the back line. They've got some goals like Andres Iniesta. He has gotten some years on him. A lot of their guys have been really good players for a long time. So they have mileage on them. Plus, they don't really have a ton of great players coming off the bench, whereas Real Madrid has great players coming off the bench, and Juventus had a great year. I don't believe that. They did. Barcelona lost to PSG, I believe, which is I think even better. It is. That they had to sell him. Well, and that's the thing. They didn't even want to accept the $222 million from PSG to trigger the clause for Neymar to go over. So what they're doing now is they are suing poor guy Neymar Jr. for $8.5 million.
That's it?
Plus 10% in late payment fees because he signed a new contract last year in October, which is not exactly said in this article whether or not he had agreed to not leave, but it does describe it a little bit. And Neymar had a few choice things to say about that, and they're not terrible. He kind of talked about how he enjoyed being at the club. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of it. So I quote, "I don't have anything to say to the Barcelona board. For me, well, actually, I have something to say, that I'm disappointed with them," which I think a lot of their fans really are, as they have underachieved. Now, they have won La Liga the last few years. They didn't actually win it this year, which is weird that Real Madrid is so good, but they have a tough time winning their own league. So he goes on to say, "I spent 4 years there. I was very happy. I began happy, spent 4 years happy, and left happy. But not with them. For me, they shouldn't be in charge of Barca. Barca deserves much better, and everyone knows this." Which, I mean, granted, it's a long season. You play in, well, if you're a Spanish club, I don't know exactly how many tournaments you play in, but I know that they're going to be playing in Champions League. They have La Liga. They're going to have Copa del Rey, which is the Spanish championship. So there's 3 tournaments right there, and you have to concentrate on all of them, and you have to find out exactly what's going to happen with your league, and that's going to determine how you play and who you play in Champions League. So that's why it's my favorite sport. There's so many storylines. It's just very interesting. But it's just kind of silly to sue a player because he wanted to leave your team. And by all means, I mean, obviously we know what happened with Kyrie tonight. He was traded to the Boston Celtics. But this is that kind of type of situation where Neymar doesn't want to play behind Lionel Messi anymore. He wants to be the guy.
Okay, that makes sense. But
and
there's no loyalty. And that's my problem with the Kyrie thing. There's no loyalty in sports. And that's why they're suing over the loyalty clause.
I get that, but there hasn't been a ton of loyalty when it comes to these big stars. As Cristiano Ronaldo, he's on his 3rd team with Real Madrid. And he wanted to leave, but that's because the Spanish government was coming after him for the most ridiculous thing about tax evasion, which we can all assume is not true because the year they're saying that he evaded his taxes, he actually paid extra taxes, which no one does that. No one pays extra taxes. Nobody does that.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Jermaine? I mean, in terms of how do the taxes work when you have your acting jobs? And is it like contracted, or is that how it works?
Yeah, you fill out a contract depending on what your role is. You get a check in the mail, which is always good. So.
And it's up to you to pay the taxes, or it's already taken out.
You can write it off on your taxes. Yeah, if you're working, you can write off like acting classes and things like that. So yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get more into that, and then on the other side, some NFL before we get into the second hour in college football. But might there be a new commissioner or in the NFL? We'll see, because the players don't like Roger Goodell. So we'll talk about his contract status on the other side. Stay with us more. Let that sink in.
This is Reflog 18, and you are listening to Score on Air.
Hey guys, Matty Ice here, proud alum of the Ohio Media School. Get the training you need to get a job you will love. The Ohio Media School has classes in radio, television, sports broadcasting, and film and video production. Visit beonair.com today to get started. That's beonair.com.
I'm Jake Safranco with your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Now here's the Sports Doc, Dr. Chris Stankovich.
Probably not a week goes by where we don't hear of some story in the sports world about an athlete using steroids or some other performance-enhancing drug. Unfortunately, a lot of these same stories have trickled down to youth sports, and we see an increasing number of kids turning to different means and measures to help improve their sport performance. Steroids, HGH, and even some of the ADHD drugs like Vyvanse, Adderall, and Ritalin have been used to improve focus and on-field performance. It's important that parents watch what their kids are taking, especially when it comes to nutritional supplements. Keep in mind, these are not governed by the FDA, and in many cases, we don't have enough research to tell whether there will be long-term negative effects. Train right, eat right, do moderate weight training and solid cardio work, and you'll be in the best position to get the most out of your youth sport experience.
This has been your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Enrolling now, visit beonair.com.
The Score wants to make you, a winner. Each week, ScoreOnAir.com is giving away a prize pack that'll knock your socks off.
Ouch, hey, that hurt.
How? First of all, like us on Facebook. And every Monday, we will pin up a post to the top of our feed, updating you on what the week's prize and contest details are. Now here, take your socks back. A winner will be selected every week at 7 p.m. Friday on our combat sports show, Tyson's Punch-Out. So give us a call or text to get qualified. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. Here's how to qualify. Message us on Facebook at Your Score on Air or Twitter, also at Your Score on Air with your name, phone number, email, and date of birth. Or you can just simply call or text any of our live shows at 614-641-0674 and tell them you want to qualify to win T-shirts, sporting memorabilia, and more. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Driven Foundation presents the training camp August 22nd, 2017 at 7 a.m. at the Blackwell Hotel in Columbus, Ohio, featuring co-founder Roy Hall. This is event number 5 in the Driven Foundation Leadership Series. Event will feature multiple guests such as motivational speakers and life coaches and more. So get registered at staydriven.org. Again, registered at staydriven.org. I guarantee it, you don't want to miss this. Training camp with co-founder Roy Hall, August 22nd. Stay driven, everybody.
The Ohio Media School wants you to be part of the first ever Mastermind Exhibition on August 17th, 2017 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the Columbus campus. We are teaming up with experts in radio, television, and digital media to help you identify, entertain, and leverage an audience to promote your personal brand. This year's theme is BYOA, Bring Your Own Audience. Don't miss the first ever Mastermind Exhibition on August 17th, 2017 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Ohio Media School.
You're listening to ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio in Columbus. Online sports radio, WSOA ScoreOnAir.com, the Score.
It's time
for Tyson's Punch-Out, hitting you with mixed martial arts, boxing, and wrestling entertainment talk.
And welcome back to Let That Sink In. Oh my gosh, my mic is so loud right now. Welcome back. I'm running the show now.
Oh, okay.
So watch out. We might be off on time. We don't know. I will know.
You ready to talk some NFL?
I'm ready to talk about Roger Goodell. I've been waiting for it all day after I saw that article. I mean, it's the right move. It really is. So if you want to go ahead and break into it, Tyson. Terrell, my gosh. One of you T names.
Well, Commissioner Roger Goodell may get a lot of criticism for the way he has handled issues related to domestic violence, player celebrations, and the investigation into so-called Deflategate, air quotes. But by and large, the NFL's 32-team owners think he's doing a great job. So much so that they are ready to announce that they've extended Goodell's contract another 5 years through 2024, according to people close to the situation. Some numbers associated with this will blow your mind. NFL annual revenue has nearly tripled. So I was thinking it had doubled since 2006, but it's nearly tripled to a whopping $14 billion since he took over in 2006. And the average value of franchises has more than doubled to $2.3 billion, according to Forbes. And so when you look at the highest valued franchises in sports in the world, and to include the PSGs of the world who can afford to pay all this money for the likes of Neymar and all these big stars, every single NFL team is in the top 50 in value in the world.
So you're telling me the Browns made it?
The Browns made it. Even the Browns.
Yeah, we win something.
Well, sometimes when you win, you really lose because the players are losing in this deal. And so it's been a continuing storyline where you see these big NBA contracts, and they're saying, well, we're making all this money. Where's our cut of the pie in terms of NFL players, Richard Sherman and the like?
Yeah. Talking guarantee contracts, which should be the most important thing to them, but they haven't really been able to come together behind that standpoint. They've worried about a few other things like discipline, which they sold themselves out because now they've been so upset since the last CBA, allowing Roger Goodell to have all of the power. And when he gives you a suspension and you say, well, I want to appeal that, then Roger Goodell gets to say, well, I like my original decision. But it's got to be guaranteed contracts. That's got to be the main thing they have to hunker down for. And we talked about this off air the other day about them holding out because DeMaurice Smith or DeMaurice Smith, however you want to say it, the representative of the players union, has come out and said this week, or maybe it was at the end of last week, that there's going to be a lockout. It's guaranteed.
And he's talking about it like they and you are the one that negotiated this last collective bargaining agreement. So there's not a whole lot of they. You're going to say if we lost, you lost. Yeah. Now, Jermaine, let me ask you this. You spent some time in different parts of the country. Do you have an NFL team? Like, who's your team?
Oh, man, I don't even know if I want to talk about my team on the air right now.
Oh, I want to hear this now.
I'm a 49er fan. And I've been a 49er fan since the 80s, but, man, there ain't much to talk about right now.
Well, so, okay, that being said, what's your take on the whole Colin Kaepernick situation?
Oh, man, I got mixed feelings about it. I respect our flag, I respect the country, and I understand what he's doing. And at one point, a part of me is like, I wouldn't do it, personally wouldn't do it, because I respect the flag, and it's a different subject. But at the same time, I understand why he did it, because he was using his platform in a way he felt was best to use it. And at one point, they're like, oh, he could have done it another way. What other way?
True.
This is the way he chose to do it. I mean, one moment they're saying you need to do it the other way. The next moment they're saying you're being too loud. Or if you're doing it when you're voicing your opinion, you're being too loud. You need to tone it down. And he's been silent. He's just taking a knee. Now it's like you got to find another way. So it's hard. It's a hard situation. I feel bad for him as far as being blackballed the way he is. I don't think he deserves it. I don't like him as a good fit for the 49ers. He lost the championship for us, in my opinion. He lost in a couple, passes here and there, not hitting the targets.
So maybe
he's not a Joe Montana. He's not a Steve Young. I miss those guys. Bring them back. That's what I say.
I mean, he's the reason they're in the Super Bowl, though. He's the reason that they're in the game.
Colin Kaepernick's the reason why they were in the game?
I think he's the reason why they were in that football game in the second half.
But when you think about the last play of the game, what happened? He couldn't even get the ball to the right guy. I mean, in the clutch, he can get you where you need to go, but in the clutch, when it came down to it, he couldn't finish. The last play,
for
championship when he couldn't get the ball to Crabtree, and old boy came and knocked it off.
You can't blame Colin Kaepernick for that. That's all Richard Sherman. That's all you give credit to Richard Sherman for that play. That doesn't. Colin Kaepernick's job as the quarterback is to give his guy a chance to catch the football. He gave Michael Crabtree a chance to catch the football, and Richard Sherman was Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman is a beast. But I think he underthrew that pass. He throw it for a place where only Crabtree can grab it. Touchdown. We're going to.
I get that, but Richard Sherman made sure there was no place that he could grab it. Colin Kaepernick. All you can ask your quarterback to do at the end of the day is give your guy a shot to win it, and he gave it to him. He put it on his hands.
He didn't even get it to his hands.
Yeah, that's because Richard Sherman knocked it away.
I think Richard Sherman knocked it away because the ball was placed in a place where he could knock it away. And had he threw it a little farther out, it would have been only a place where either he overthrows Crabtree or
This is what I'll say. Jesus Christ couldn't have completed that pass.
Okay, all right. We can agree to disagree on that one.
And so I think just based on the passion that we just heard from that exchange about your 49ers is another reason why the owners feel as though, again, now the numbers haven't been released on what Roger Goodell could possibly sign for with this extension, and the NFL has yet to come out and confirm that there will in fact be an extension. But based on what they have paid him, which in an excess of $44 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to them, he's worth it. I mean, he's earning them $6 billion plus a year.
Well, 14 actually. So they're at 14 right now.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it was at the end of last year?
Billion.
Okay, so
is the league revenue right now.
So you just stamped my point down. I mean, what's $44 million to that.
But again, you know, and you're looking at as the players, and you're saying,
and
you know, where's our cut of this pie?
Yeah. Well, most importantly, Roger Goodell has the players and the fans saying, I don't like Roger Goodell. I hate Roger Goodell. But Roger Goodell doesn't get the ultimate call. He's not the boss. The boss are the owners.
They are.
And they're paying him to be a flak jacket. And he's the best flak jacket in professional sports history, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, would you care about the criticism if that was the case? You've tripled your league's revenue in your reign, and you're bringing home $44 million a year. You can call me whatever names you want to, player. That's fine.
I 100% agree with you. And from the standpoint of those numbers that you throw out, I mean, he's been one of the greatest commissioners in sports history.
And he has been. And when you look at the numbers, we talk about the revenue, and let's get back to Colin Kaepernick on this and the owner's perspective on this. When you have a league that's pulling in that kind of cash, you don't want anyone to mess with that. And so that's why, and I understand, and I agree that it is messed up that Colin Kaepernick is being denied an opportunity to play in the NFL for reasons other than his play on the field, which, again, can be called into question. Maybe he's not as accurate as you would like him to be, particularly from 49er fans. But it's about them dollars in that sense. And I got to tell you, $14 billion is nothing to sneeze at. Particularly if, and from the shareholders' perspective as well, because the NFL is no longer a nonprofit organization. It used to be that. And so, but it's not anymore. It's not classified anymore. And that's one thing you hear thrown out a lot. Oh, well, you know, but originally a sports league is like a church and it's classified as a nonprofit organization, but it's not anymore. And so that's what the owners are looking at when they're making decisions and about Colin Kaepernick et al. But when we get back to the other side, when at the top of the hour, it's time for college football. It starts this weekend, and, man, it's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about the top 25. It's just been released, the top players, and we're going to make our predictions all in the second hour. So stay with us for more Let That Sink In.
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios at the Ohio Media School in Columbus, Ohio. Your home for all the latest sports news and talk. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Are you a sports fan? Do you have a mobile phone? Great. That's all you need to stay up to date with ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio, with original talk shows starting every 2 hours, covering every sport from every angle.
From basketball
to hockey
to martial arts.
Fantasy football.
We cover all Ohio sports. Just go to ScoreOnAir.com or download the TuneIn Radio app and search Score On Air. You'll be part of the action in no time. Whether you're stuck in traffic, at the grocery store, studying at the library, anywhere for that matter. Tune in anytime to get your sports fix. Follow us on social media or go to ScoreOnAir.com for even more original content, including play-by-play of local high school and college games, sports articles, and podcasts. ScoreOnAir.com is your home for the best analysis, coverage, and lukewarm sports takes. The best part, we're broadcasting live right here in Columbus.
OH.
ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio.
The Score.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
The new generation of sports talk radio. Here's your ScoreOnAir.com Score Center update.
This is G-Rob at your Score On Air studios with your Score Center update. Former Ohio State Buckeye had the Clippers number again at Huntington Park in Columbus, Ohio. Pitching the final 1 2/3 innings, he struck out 4 of the 5 batters he faced to lock down Game 2 for the Rochester Red Wings. Offensive highlights in this one for the Clippers were both Yandy Diaz and Tyler Naquin combining for 6 hits. Naquin driving in 2 on double, scoring Michael Martinez both in the first and 8th. Adam Fluco takes the mound Thursday afternoon at 12:35 at Huntington Park. Fresh off a 5-home run performance by the Indians Tuesday night in Minnesota, the Tribe and Twins were rained out Wednesday. The two teams will meet Thursday in a day-night doubleheader with Carlos Carrasco in Game 1 and crafty lefty Ryan Merritt starting the nightcap. At Coors Field, the Rockies scored an impressive 17 runs against the visiting Atlanta Braves. Trevor Story was the headline in this one.
Story drives this one, and it'll stay fair, and to get out of here. High fly ball, deep left field. This one's got a chance. This one's gone. A 2-home run night for Trevor Story.
For all your scores, news, and highlights, keep it locked right here. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
You're listening to the home of the latest sports news and updates in Columbus.
Streaming live on YouTube and the worldwide TuneIn Radio app. This is ScoreOnAir.com.
For Tyson's Punch-Out, hitting you with mixed martial arts, boxing, and wrestling. Welcome back, everybody, to Tyson's Punch-Out, part of the new generation of Sports Talk Radio here on ScoreOnAir.com. I'm your host, Tyson, along with the return of the beard.
Yeah, big red.
I was trying to think of something clever to say, but I couldn't really figure it out right off the bat.
Not on the fly.
All
right.
So
we left off.
Big amounts, yeah.
And we are back to let that sink in. Going to get into the old college football. Does that start Thursday? Is Ohio State's game this Thursday? Is that next Thursday? I was going to say, you got me all hyped.
Before kickoff classic. We're going to talk about that a little bit later this hour, but the preseason AP Top 25 was released just yesterday, and it's always interesting to see exactly, how things change. And so before we talk about the 2017 AP Top 25, I wanted to kind of look back at last year, the 2016 Top 25 preseason, just to see how things changed at the end. And when you look at the top, they had last year Alabama and Clemson number 1 and number 2 in the preseason, so they were pretty accurate there. But there's some other things that they might have missed on. They had LSU at number 5, Oklahoma at number 3.
I'm glad Michigan got my first place vote.
Listen, you guys need to put out a roster before you can start talking about anything that's going to happen this year.
Don't need one. Helmets get your first place vote.
Oh, my goodness. That was last year in 2016. You guys don't even know who you guys are going to be starting at quarterback.
You know how it goes. I mean, and I love the rankings. I love college football and all the hoopla that goes behind all of this malarkey. But, I mean,
they were pretty good last year. You look at this top 25.
Why are we still doing these preseason rankings?
Why wouldn't we do preseason rankings? Because we're talking about it on the radio right now. That's why, because people want to talk about it.
You know what? I agree, but I feel like there's a better way. I feel like there's a better way.
But they were accurate. Look at this. They had Alabama. They had the top 2 teams predicted correctly before the season started last year. I think that's a pretty good reason to do the preseason polls. You had Ohio State at number 6. You're a Buckeye fan, Jermaine? I mean, you're a Buckeye.
I'm a Buckeye fan. I watch them. Yes, for sure.
And so we were at number 6 last season, starting this year out at number 2 behind Alabama. You think that's about right? I mean, how do you feel about the season? Are you looking forward to the season for the Buckeyes?
I feel good about the season. I'm actually glad we're not number 1. Because that puts a stronger target on our head. We don't necessarily do so well when we start off as number 1. So I feel comfortable hanging out at number 2.
I feel it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to it. I think we got a good team, and Urban Meyer is always going to bring in some top talent. So
I think, well, and just to put my little 2 cents in on Ohio State starting at number 2, I get the best 4 teams get in. We know that the playoff no longer matter. We know
Playoffs?
Well, sorry, not the playoff. We know that the conference championships no longer matters after last year. But
I don't think that there's not precedents that are set. Like you can't.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I think it's a year-to-year thing.
Yeah. I was just going to say. I think that honestly, even if they don't lose a game, being number 2 and not number 1 could hurt them.
Well,
and not if they go undefeated, they'll still be in the playoff. But I think with seeding, I think them starting out at number 2 and not number 1 could hurt them because all those teams can move up, and Ohio State plays nobody unless Michigan comes out and surprises people, which I don't expect to happen. As a Michigan fan, I don't expect them to surprise people this year. But I think that could hurt them with seeding. Just looking way forward, looking 6 months, 8 months into the future.
Well, looking at this and looking at this year's top 25, you mentioned the team up north coming in at 11. The Ohio State schedule, I don't feel is all that strong, but
no.
You have some teams on this list. You have number 7 Oklahoma on the schedule this season. You have Wisconsin at number 9 in the top 25 in this preseason poll. And so how's that going to play in terms of Ohio State if we're able to run the table, which I feel like we should easily do? I don't see how we're not number 1, and I don't see how any of these teams, because Alabama is going to suffer because the SEC is down this season.
Well, I think that they're always going to continue to get the respect because of Nick Saban. I think even if they both go undefeated, Alabama hands down will be number 1. But USC and Florida State both have some teams to play. So you think if this shakes out to these 4 teams, that these teams have much better teams to play down the stretch of the season than what Ohio State does. So I think that boosts them up in front of them. And I know that Ohio State does. Now, granted, they won the 1 game, but you don't want to make a habit of seeing Nick Saban when he's got a month to prepare for you.
This is true. So let's do some projecting. When we compare these 2 top 25 lists and looking at the top 10, let's just look at the top 10. We know what happened last year, and there's some teams that started out in the top 10 that fell off a cliff. So you have your Notre Dames, you have your Stanford, and you have your LSU that were in the top 10 preseason. Looking at this year's top 10, who do you anticipate not being there at the end?
Wisconsin.
Wow. Why not Wisconsin? You're saying Penn State will be up there in the top 10.
I think that Penn State's better. I don't know what time of the year they play each other. I have to assume that they play each other, but I don't know. But Wisconsin has Michigan and they have Ohio State. So they're not going to win both those games. And if they lose one of those games, they're out of the top 10. And I
definitely see that.
And I could easily see Wisconsin losing both of those games. They lost. Yeah, absolutely. Now, because what's Wisconsin bringing back on defense?
But I ask you, look at Clemson at number 5. What's Clemson bringing back on offense?
That's true. They have some wide receivers.
They lost everybody.
But they'll have wide receivers that step in. I know that they'll have a quarterback that will go in there and at least play well. They always do. Now, how great that quarterback's going to be, I don't know. I don't even know who it is. But they have some games to win. But I could see them staying in if they're able to win a few games in the ACC, which we've talked about endlessly at this point, that the ACC is the best conference in the country. And if Clemson's able to stay on top of their own division, that definitely puts them into the top 10.
So I'm looking at doing some efforting here. It appears that the starting quarterback for Clemson will be Donnie McElveen.
Great name.
Never heard of him.
It's a great name. Nobody had ever heard Deshaun Watson either.
A lot of people had heard of Deshaun Watson. Urban Meyer wanted Deshaun Watson over J.T. Barrett, and you can see why. I mean, they definitely do a lot of the same things, except Deshaun Watson can actually throw the football, which is where I think.
This is what I'll say, though, for Deshaun Watson, is that if Chad Kelly's not an idiot, maybe Deshaun Watson transfers.
This is true. Well, no. That
Chad Kelly was going to be the starter.
He was going to be the starter.
Deshaun Watson
was Dabo's guy, though. Dabo loved Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but Chad Kelly was going to be the guy. He was the guy after Taj Boyd.
All right, this is true. Later on, we are going to go ahead and write down and make our predictions after we talk about some of the the best players in college football. Some other just notable teams on this AP Top 25 for 2017, just some things that jump off the page. You see a South Florida.
I was literally looking at that. I was going to say that. The guy, he's stepping in there, the man with the biggest chest in college football.
Charlie Strong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Strong Charlie Strong.
So Willie Taggart he left South Florida, and he's starting a new style of football at Oregon.
New style, kicking people off of the team already.
For what, disciplinary issues?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, nothing came out. It was just a breaking of team rules. I believe it was a starter too.
Well, I mean, again, that was a precipitous fall off, and they bought all into the Chip Kelly thing and that whole style, but then it just fell off a cliff, and I don't know where Chip Kelly is these days.
He's the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, isn't he?
What? No.
For the 49ers? Yeah.
No.
I think he did go to
I'm pretty sure that he's the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. Effort.
Yeah, I'm efforting on that because I don't see how he would accept a demotion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's the offensive coordinator in San Francisco this year. They got him, Jim Tom Sula.
Oh, come on. That doesn't even make sense. No, he's at the sit-go, bro.
Nah,
he's pumping gas right now, man.
No.
Yeah, he's currently an ESPN analyst. He's at the sit-go, bro.
Okay, well, there are reports that he may take the offensive coordinator job. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, he's going to have to take a break. He's going to be out of football for a few years and then let things cool down. And then because his reputation is too damaged after failing in Philadelphia, they bought all in. We're selling out for Chip Kelly. He's going to come in and do this, and then he comes in and he has the perfect quarterback to run his system and doesn't play him.
Yeah, but he's still getting them checks. So shout out to him.
I guess so.
He's still getting paid by Philly too, probably.
He is.
Life's about getting them checks sometimes.
So
if you can't coach, get paid.
This is true. And speaking of coaching, Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals, number 16, the defending Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Jermaine, did you ever catch any tape of Lamar Jackson last year? Spectacular player.
I was really into this dude watching him play.
I would imagine if you play quarterback, you would play a similar style.
I would try, man. You know, I didn't have an arm. You know, I would.
Neither does he. He's just really fast.
I think I would excel more as a wide receiver, just from my height and my hands. But you know, yeah, I wasn't much of a passer. I probably couldn't pass 10 yards. So.
Neither can he. He's just really fast.
And speaking of that, and just as an Ohio State fan, that's a big question on this year's team. We'll talk about that actually.
Yes, it is.
On the other side, you know, what the wide receivers are going to do, and also just see how many Ohio State players made it onto the top 100 college football players of 2017. So stay with us more. Let that sink in on the other side.
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios at the Ohio Media School in Columbus, Ohio. Your home for all the latest sports news and talk. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Nasty's Sports Bar in Reynoldsburg is under new management. Located at 6150 East Main Street, the home for Taco Tuesday is rejuvenated and the home for great food and family fun. Nasty's Sports Bar is a great place for happy hour, serving $2 domestics, $3 glasses of wine, and $5 appetizers. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 614-864-2827 to find out the daily specials. Nasty's. Great food, family fun, with a cool name.
Listen to ScoreOnAir.com for your chance to win. Every Friday, we will be giving away a prize pack, and here's how you can qualify. Send us a message with your name, phone number, email, and date of birth to our Facebook or Twitter account. Just search Your Score On Air, or you can call or text any of our live shows at 614-641-0674 and tell them you want to win. It's that easy. A new winner will be selected every Friday at 7 p.m. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
I'm Jake Safranco with your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Now here's the Sports Doc, Dr. Chris Stankovich.
Does your son or daughter struggle with nerves when it comes to competing in sports? If so, it's important to know that this is perfectly normal. In fact, professional athletes struggle with the very same anxieties that your son or daughter does while competing. Nerves are a result largely because of cognitive appraisals, and what that means is how we perceive things often dictates how our bodies will respond. You might want to think of this as fight or flight. In fact, when I work with athletes, I ask them, do they view pressure situations as challenges or do they see them as threats? If they view them as challenges, they often gain confidence, sharpen their focus, and become even more motivated to succeed. But if they see the situation as threatening, that's when anxiety creeps in and usually compounds matters. So it's important that you look at skills that can help, including deep breathing, using imagery, and reminding your child of the importance of positive self-talk.
This has been your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Enrolling now, visit beonair.com.
Matty Ice here, proud alum of the Ohio Media School. Are you looking for a new career? Not just a job, but a fulfilling career? If you want to work in media, radio, television, sports broadcasting, or film and video production, you need to check out the Ohio Media School's Columbus campus today. Their updated radio and television broadcasting program will even have you ready to work in a field you'll love in just 8 months. Stop by the Ohio Media School's audio and video studios today to see it for yourself. Visit beonair.com. That's beonair.com.
The Ohio Media School presents the inaugural Mastermind Exhibition, brought to you by the Pixel Design Group, Thursday, August 17th, 2017, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This year's theme is BYOA, Bring Your Own Audience. As a media professional or someone aspiring to be one, you don't want to miss the 3 breakout sessions at Mastermind Exhibition, led by top-notch media professionals that will teach you how to digitize your brand, entertain your audience, and find your audience. For more information and to RSVP for this free event, call 614-655-5250 and follow us on all social media platforms. Act now. Seats are limited.
Do you like talking Buckeyes?
Yes! Oh my God!
So do we. Just not all the time.
Your home for the largest variety of sports talk. This is the new generation of Sports Talk Radio.
New generation of Sports Talk Radio.
ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
The Score.
This is a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
And we're back talking some college football, and we want to follow up talking about the top teams that are thought to be the top teams this year coming into the 2017 season, with just talking about and seeing how many Buckeye players made the top 100 in the preseason. Some notable names, Denzel Ward in that top 100. And I tried to I want to maybe go through also Tyquan Lewis, and talking about the Buckeyes, some interesting news from the Buckeyes. 9 captains.
What?
On this year's team. Yeah, 9.
Well, that's a good thing for them.
Is it?
I guess.
I heard that Connor Cook is going to be named an Ohio State captain as well.
Good.
Hi-oh. Okay.
He should be. He did the best thing that ever happened. Get out of my way, Archie Griffin. Nobody likes you anyway.
So, just over the break, we were talking about just maybe the difference, Jermaine, between the atmosphere in a Pac-12 environment, being at Arizona State games, and what's the difference? How does it compare to being here in Ohio, in Big Ten country, and the rabid fans that we have here compared to there?
I mean, it's a huge difference. I remember my first game going to Ohio State and walking into the stadium and just seeing that sea of red, and was just like, wow. I mean, the atmosphere, the passion is different. I went to a ASU game when they were playing against USC, and ASU was about to score a touchdown. They had the ball. It was in the fourth quarter, about 7 minutes left. They was pushing against USC. And you see the student section just start up and leaving, going, preparing to go to what is considered like our high street here in Columbus. And I'm like, you would never see that.
You had a chance to win.
They tried a chance to win, and they start leaving to go party because it was party time for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a party school, man.
How the difference is.
It's a party school.
It is a party school.
This is Ohio.
Yeah.
The weather's, you can go inside, but they can leave and go get drunk outside.
Yeah, you don't want to get drunk outside
in December.
In the desert.
In December?
Not a good. Still not.
Not in the desert, but walking around campus in in Tempe having a good time.
The city is a
you
desert.
know
The
the
city is a
pool.
desert.
The pool's still happening. You're not really getting that.
Yeah, you got great pool parties out there.
You're not getting that the day of the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
In December.
It's the loyalty is just not there. When they're winning, they're all supportive, but Ohio State fans are fans winning or losing. They may not be happy with them, but they're still fans.
That's why they made that. That's why they chased Kirk Herbstreit out of the state.
So actually a coach out in Arizona now. He comes out to the Ohio State bar every now and then out there. Show some love.
So some notable names. I was just looking at this top 100 listed of some guys that you might be surprised in where they came in on this top 100. Some guys that are outside of the top 25 players on this list. Florida State true sophomore quarterback DeAndre Francois. He comes in at number 69. And I think that might be a little bit low just comparing to maybe some of the other guys that I saw that finished outside of the top 25 players. All these players that I'm about to name finished ahead of DeAndre Francois on this list.
You talking about just are you just going to
No, not just quarterbacks, it's all players. He came in at number 69, but you have some other quarterbacks like Jake Browning from Washington. He came in at 41.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Trace McSorley, Penn State, came in at 39. So you feel like
I'd agree with that too.
So Trace McSorley better than DeAndre Francois?
I'd say right now he's better. Now will he be better throughout his career? Probably not. But I mean, from what I saw from Trace McSorley, granted, after the Michigan game last year, after they got their doors blown off against Michigan, Michigan won by 30-plus points against Penn State.
You're biased though, and you're trying to drive it. You're trying to beat a dead dog back to death. It's a John Cooper quote that I love to use.
The dead is real.
Anyway, at number 37, JT Barrett.
They're out there.
Your boy.
That's terrible. I don't know that I don't know that I agree with that, but he's won a lot of games.
Okay, all right. Okay. But Jerome Baker is a Buckeye that a lot of people haven't heard of. He came in at 45, so the linebacking core for the Buckeyes is new, but big expectations from the Buckeye defense.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Buckeye defense, at number 35, Nick Bosa. Little small bear.
Talk about a bench player, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, at number 35.
Yeah. That's crazy. That tells you how great their defensive line is.
And then also at number 34, Nick Chubb, running back, Heisman Trophy candidate, finished outside of the top 25.
Really? And Darius Geis is 12.
And so, yeah. And so I'm looking at these numbers, and it's like, okay, if these guys are that low on the list, and these are household names, who's in the top 20? So you have Jalen Hurts at 26. So he finished just outside of the top 25. Tavares McFadden, 25. Bo Scarborough at 24. Sam Hubbard at 23. So you have Sam Hubbard at 23 and Nick Bosa at 35. Now, Sam Hubbard is a guy who I've always liked because he beat our Hilliard-Davidson Wildcats in the playoffs for St. Ed's. When he was back in high school, he played safety, but now he's bulked up, plays defensive end, big kid, 6'6", pass rusher. So a formidable defensive line for the Buckeyes. It's going to wreak havoc on the Big Ten this season. But again, the edge in the Big Ten is on the front in those offensive lines. So it'll be a great battle. Some other notable names at number 22, Christian Kirk for Texas A&M. What are things looking like for Kevin Sumlin in College Station? Is he on the hot seat?
I don't know that he's on the hot seat yet. I mean, they've had some issues with their quarterback personalities. I wouldn't say
everybody transferred
necessarily maybe with what they could have gotten out of the play. It's been the personalities because all of them stepped in and were successful at one point or another. Everyone after Johnny Manziel, that is. But, yeah, they all transferred, so it's hard to say. I mean, he's done a really good job recruiting. He's had Myles Garrett, who was the number 2 pick in the draft this year.
Here you go with this Brown stuff.
Well, I'm just talking about the players that he's had. He's had a lot of high draft picks, so I don't think that –
like Johnny Manziel and stuff like that?
Well, I mean other guys. So
here, I'd go with this Brown stuff.
He had Jokel.
Yeah, he did.
Who's the other offensive lineman that they had?
Oh, man. Efforting.
Yeah, it's Clay Matthews' brother.
Jake Matthews.
Yeah, Jake Matthews. So they've had some really high picks. So it's not that they don't have the players. I mean, the SEC West, is the toughest division in football. Well, until maybe last year or this year, it's been the toughest division for maybe the last close to 10 years now. So I don't think that he's on the hot seat yet. Maybe in a year or two he may be, just because they put so much money into redoing the stadium down there, and also just with the 12th man aura, he may be on the hot seat. But I don't think that he's there just yet. But could be coming if they don't have a good season this year. They have to at least finish second in the West.
So let's just cut to the chase on this list. I agree with you. Absolutely right. We'll see. It's a we'll see.
It is. It's tough to say.
The Texas A&M, formerly of the Big 12, and again, I didn't really understand their jump to the SEC because they were never able to win the Big 12. So what success are you going to have in the SEC? Whatever.
First round picks.
They do. But very interesting who finished number 1 on this list. Baker Mayfield.
I thought that was strange too, and now I'm not going to wholeheartedly disagree. I think you know that I love Baker Mayfield, Terrell. But if they're including team success in this, it's tough to take that one. But I think just as an individual player, if you're going off of that, I would agree. I think that in my opinion, he should be the Heisman favorite, just because of what he's done in the past in the last 2 years, and then also everything that he's going to have to mean to his team this year should put him in that number 1 spot, in my opinion.
And so Oklahoma has earned a pair of Big 12 titles under his guidance, winning a 3rd straight conference crown despite losing Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, and Dede Westbrook, would be Mayfield's most impressive season yet. So, they agree with you. He's going to have to do so much, and that's why they feel like he's up here. How do you think he fares against the Buckeyes this year? So he's going to have to show and prove he's the number 1 player in college football the top 100.
I did see a couple, or maybe just one other offensive lineman that was also on this list as well. I know Oklahoma's always going to have a really good offensive line.
The Brown kid, he's a big kid.
And I know that they're always going to – they have a rotation of running backs. They're always going to have a great running back step in. I think a couple weeks ago when we did the new players to watch, I believe that one of their new running back was on that list of the next great players in the country. So I know that they're going to roll in great offensive players, but I don't know that they're going to be ready to come to Columbus. But that's one game. He can throw up redonkulous numbers in every other game and still win the Heisman. That one game's not going to hurt him, especially at the very beginning of the season.
Another interesting thing here, the loss of Tom Herman at Houston. So we'll see what's going on with Houston. But they have the number 2 rated player overall on this list, Ed Oliver, big defensive tackle for Houston. And we read all those numbers that they mentioned that I didn't talk about. But he's amazing to watch, especially given his age. Sure, Houston doesn't play in the Big 12 or the SEC, but he recorded 4 of his 5 sacks against Oklahoma and Louisville. So Ed Oliver, extraordinary talent. So it seems as though, this list isn't like tipped toward the skilled players, which is a good thing. It's pretty there's a preface to this article, and they talk about, hey, we're not talking about guys that are pro ready. We're talking about guys that are going to have an impact in college football this season. And so, again, number 1 Alabama has the number 3 player on the list.
I would say
Minkah Fitzpatrick is a dog.
I would say he's the best player in the country this year. Of any position, Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best college football player this year. If you don't know who number 29 is, go watch him, because that boy has game.
And there's no question Fitzpatrick is a ball hawk. In only 2 seasons, he snatched 8 interceptions and returned 4 to the house. That playmaking ability plus elite coverage skills amount to an exceptional college player and, yes, a draft prospect as well. One of my homeboys down in Georgia, he's like, man, where'd they get all these Irish people in Alabama? How many Fitzpatricks they got? So, just to round things out as we wrap things up, talking about some of the top players in college football. Number 4, Derwin James.
I love that guy, too.
Safety out of Florida State.
He's a stud.
Sam Darnold, who tops the All-American list. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Quarterback out of USC, and then Saquon Barkley, who again I love. He's only back in college because he hasn't played 3 years. He should have went in last year's draft. Definitely one of the top running backs. He's nasty, and again, when we do play Penn State and that battle, Saquon Barkley is going to be a tough one to deal with. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. On the other side, we're going to keep going with this college football. We're going to talk a little bit more about the top players on this top 100, and then previewing this interesting outlook on this, the biggest matchups in college football on the kickoff weekend coming up, and it's told through Marvel Comics. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. More Let That Sink In when we come back.
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios.
Are you a sports fan? Do you have a mobile phone? Great. That's all you need to stay up to date with ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio, with original talk shows starting every 2 hours, covering every sport from every angle.
From basketball
to hockey
to martial arts.
We cover all Ohio sports. Just go to ScoreOnAir.com or download the TuneIn Radio app and search Score On Air. You'll be part of the action in no time. Whether you're stuck in traffic, at the grocery store, studying at the library, anywhere for that matter. Tune in anytime to get your sports fix. Follow us on social media or go to ScoreOnAir.com for even more original content, including play-by-play of local high school and college games, sports articles, and podcasts. ScoreOnAir.com is your home for the best analysis, coverage, and lukewarm sports takes. The best part, we're broadcasting live right here in Columbus.
Oh, wait.
Hello. ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio.
NWA Midwest Championship Wrestling is looking for interns. Have you heard of Ric Flair? Well, this is the company that brought you Ric Flair before he went to the WWE. And we're looking for interns to work behind the scenes, hand in hand, with production, with audio, with video, and with podcasts and radio. Contact Damon Dury, the big dog, at 740-971-3968.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
The new generation of sports talk radio. Here's your ScoreOnAir.com Score Center update.
This is G-Rob at your Score On Air studios with your Score Center update. Former Ohio State Buckeye had the Clippers number again at Huntington Park in Columbus, Ohio. Pitching the final 1 2/3 innings, he struck out 4 of the 5 batters he faced to lock down Game 2 for the Rochester Red Wings. Offensive highlights in this one for the Clippers were both Yandy Diaz and Tyler Naquin combining for 6 hits. Naquin driving in 2 on doubles, scoring Michael Martinez both in the first and 8th inning. Adam Pluto takes the mound Thursday afternoon at 12:35 at Huntington Park. Fresh off a 5-home run performance by the Indians Tuesday night in Minnesota, the Tribe and Twins were rained out Wednesday. The two teams will meet Thursday in a day-night doubleheader with Carlos Carrasco in Game 1 and crafty lefty Brian Merritt starting the nightcap. At Coors Field, the Rockies scored an impressive 17 runs against the visiting Atlanta Braves. Trevor Story was the headline in this one.
Story drives this one, and it'll stay fair, and get out of here. High fly ball, deep left field. This one's got a chance. This one's gone. A 2-home run night for Trevor Story.
For all your scores, news, and highlights, keep it locked right here. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
You're listening to the home of heart-pounding, adrenaline-pumping sports.
Broadcasting from Ohio Media School in the greatest city in the state.
In the greatest state in the country.
In the greatest country in the world.
You're listening to ScoreOnAir.com.
football, getting ready for the kickoff this weekend and the big games this weekend. The biggest game, and again, we were talking about, over the break, why the Thursday night game for Ohio State at Indiana, and it's about money, and the Big Ten didn't previously want to play on Thursday, and it was mostly because Ohio State was not on board with it, and this was kind of a trade-off because this is a featured game on a Thursday, and it does break a lot of traditions, like you were saying, right? Like it doesn't feel right, Jermaine?
It doesn't feel right at all. I mean, it just breaks everything that we're used to seeing from Ohio State, starting off playing some of these bummy teams, and then we work into the Big Ten.
You mean paying their bills? That's what they keep talking about. We're paying them to come play us. We're giving them all money, and we're funding their athletic departments. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, so I was confused by that when I saw we was playing Indiana first game of the season. It was like on a Thursday night at that. I was like, this doesn't feel right. This could be a bad omen for Ohio State. I don't know if I like this, but it is what it is. I'm sure we're going to handle business.
And so a lot of other teams are looking to handle business early. The biggest game in the kickoff classic is Florida State, number 3, versus number 1 Alabama right off the bat. And it's always a thing. Like I play a lot of NCAA 2014 still on PS3.
Man, that was a classic.
That's the game right there. And when you can make your own schedule, and if you want to win a national championship, it's important to schedule the right teams at the right times. Mm-hmm. And for me, I would like to play those bum schools early because you don't know what you have when you come out. And again, that's what makes you nervous when you have the Big Ten opener on a Thursday night for Ohio State. You don't really know what you have. You kind of want a couple games to maybe get warmed up and get to know the team, maybe establish some roles on the team. When they asked Alabama coach Nick Saban how he felt about playing the number 3 team in the country in the opening game, he said, you know what, it's nerve-wracking because you don't know what you have, but at the same time it's exciting because, hey, it's go time right now. And you don't necessarily have to wait 3 or 4 games to see who can play and who doesn't want to play because you got to play right now. Let me ask you, Jermaine, like if you were a coach and you were making the schedule, which way would you want it? Would you want to play those tough games early, or would you want like maybe a little bit more of a warm-up?
I think that first game I would want to warm up. I like to see what my players doing. But that second game and on, I'm let's bring it. Yeah, let's bring the players. I mean, see who wants to play. See who wants to play. Who's going to show that they want that spot. They deserve that spot. But that first game, I kind of, that first game is like our scrimmage game. Let's kind of see what we got in a real life situation because, let's be honest, Ohio State don't always start off pretty strong. I mean, it takes them a while to get a little warmed up and get things going. That first half usually is hard to watch. So
it usually is. Yeah, it's a little bit tough.
So that's for that reason. Yes.
Yeah, if they played against some good MAC quarterbacks the last few years, they would have lost a couple of those games.
Absolutely, yes.
Some other big games early for other teams, and I'm trying to, work this whole – the graphics in this story are pretty cool because they took Marvel covers and changed it to these big games. And so BYU versus LSU, a big game. You mentioned Geis, their running back, Heisman Trophy candidate. A lot of people think that he's going to be the best running back in the country. A big test early against BYU.
Can I just stop you right there?
Yeah.
And stop a big test for LSU against BYU.
Oh.
Are you kidding me?
Is the hyperbole a little too thick?
Don't play like that, please. Don't play on my microphone.
Okay, here's a better one. All right, number 25 Tennessee versus Georgia Tech early. Am I like living in the past with Georgia Tech? What, the Ramblin' Wreck and the option attack? And you see what Tennessee's going to do? Sans Josh Dobbs?
Calvin Johnson playing receiver?
He is not.
Demaryius Thomas playing wide receiver? Nope, I'm done. It's over. Nope, not going to happen.
Okay, all right. Well,
it is a great cover, though. It is a great cover.
It is pretty cool. They the Man Called Nova, the Thor cover is what they did. They have the yellow jacket coming down out of the sky. And what's the Tennessee mascot's name? The dog. I don't remember his name.
Smokey.
Hey, Smokey. I don't know if that's copywritten. I wonder how that goes. And
well, we know this Smokey's been around a lot longer than that Smokey.
Indeed. The Ohio State Indiana cover, it's in here. It's a Incredible Hulk cover, and interestingly enough, it's Brutus versus just a regular Indiana football player.
Well, I mean, what is a Hoosier?
Person from Indiana, right?
I thought that was like in Indiana, or I'll call my brother. He'll tell me he lives there.
Okay, well, yeah, and I want to mention this next one for
it's
you.
It's called the Hoosier State.
It's a person from Indiana.
Who's your?
You know what a Hoosier is, Jermaine?
Daddy?
No, actually, I don't. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to. I don't want to be one of those guys.
Indiana's my least favorite state. So
you are a hater.
No, they produce Mike Pence, my least favorite state.
You don't.
I hate Indiana basketball. The only thing they
don't
ever
like
did
guys
well.
with gray hair.
No, the only thing I have gray hair.
I know, but a full silver fox.
The only good thing that state ever did was draft Reggie Miller and Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, so
I'll take that back. Jim Harbaugh's first team was Chicago. Continue.
North Indiana in Chicago. Number 11 Michigan versus number 17 Florida. We talked about this. Again, and Jermaine, I don't know if you've seen this, but Coach Harbaugh, his coach, he refuses to release the Michigan rosters this season.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's like a big secret.
It's what he does. He
And
does
so-
the most ridiculous things. That's why I love him so much.
One of my favorite follows on Twitter, Tony Girdman, he did some sleuthing and investigative work, and he found a picture of this year's Michigan football team. Problem is, it's incredibly blurry, and you can't see any of them. So that it's accurate.
That's funny.
Because that's what we know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
What's the plan?
I'll tell you what. If he's not so Woody Hayes, then I'm crazy.
Oh, definitely.
Like he's so Woody Hayes, it's ridiculous.
He is, and which is again, and it's interesting, just the whole lineage and connection.
And Urban Meyer really is more Bo Schembechler.
He really is
much more laid. Well, he's not the speaker that Bo Schembechler is. He's not the kind of rah guy. But I mean, just his demeanor is closer. He is fiery, not all of the time, but he can be. But he's a cool dude. And Bo Schembechler always wearing the sunglasses. He's a cool guy.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. How about this one? West Virginia, number 22 West Virginia versus number 21 Virginia Tech.
I'm interested in that.
I am.
I know Virginia Tech's got a pretty good team coming back. They have a horse at running back. I can't remember what the boy's name is. He's a big old boy. But I know their offense should be pretty good. They've been young the last few years, as all the Ohio State fans have seen. But I like what Virginia Tech's bringing back.
A lot of people have West Virginia roots. Anybody got West Virginia? Go ahead and say that.
Bronco Mendenhall, is he the coach there now? Right? At Virginia Tech, right?
No, it's Justin Fuentes.
Oh, that's right, Justin
the former
Fuentes.
Memphis coach. He took over for Frank Beamer.
I knew they had a new one, but I always love watching West Virginia football too.
Does anyone in the room have West Virginia ties? Because in Ohio, most people have some type of ties.
I'm actually from West Virginia.
My dad's family is all from West Virginia.
Yeah, I grew up in Charleston. Came really close to actually going to West Virginia University, so I don't claim that. Really.
My uncle's considered one of the greatest West Virginia high school football players of all time. Just saying.
So you guys are taking West Virginia in that matchup, Mountaineers.
Well, I got a cousin that actually goes to Virginia Tech and plays for the
Oh.
Virginia Tech. So
real
it's
nice.
kind of. I mean, he's not. He's still in his second year, so he's not getting a lot of playing time.
What's his name?
His name's DeAndre. He uses a different last name than his mom, so I can't remember his like Clanton or something. It's different from his mom's name, so I can't remember what his last name is. But yeah.
So they use the defenders when they have the Hokie on here versus the old Mountaineer in a battle. Pretty cool covers. That looks to be a pretty interesting game because, again, West Virginia in the Big 12. A lot of people forget that because they're kind of, separated off from the Big 12, but they're still doing their thug thizzle and being a very competitive sports program, both in football and basketball. And so I do tend to root for the Mountaineers. I didn't when they had Geno Smith.
That used to be a great Big East matchup.
Oh yeah. Oh, they used to. Yeah, definitely. It is an old Big East matchup.
Yeah.
But Geno Smith, I remember, he used to run his mouth back when he was at West Virginia, and I'm like,
I mean, he was a stud though.
They had West Virginia. They were ranked number 1 in the country, and he pooped in his pants.
No, that wasn't Geno. That was Pat White.
No, Pat White. No, it was Geno. Geno had him ranked number 1 player.
No,
and they lost to South Florida on national television after Geno Smith went on. Oh man, I'm definitely the Heisman front runner, and da 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 da. That's what got him punched in the mouth for the Jets.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember them being number 1, but I trust you.
And I was like, oh my goodness, and everybody was in love with Geno Smith. I'm like, look, Pat White and Steve Slayton, that was the dynamic duo.
I like them.
Right.
Yeah, that
at
was
West Virginia.
I was kind of rooting for West Virginia.
That was the squad for the Mountaineers.
Noel Devine.
Yeah. They had weapons. Rich Rod, all those guys. Rich Rodriguez still at Arizona. Arizona's going to be one of the youngest teams. They're replacing like 80 players or something like that. So it should be interesting. They were terrible last year, so he said, let's get rid of them all and bring in
Kentucky basketball.
Yeah,
it's a Kentucky basketball move right there.
So the moment you've all been waiting for, coming up, we will make our predictions, the Power 5 conference champions from each league. And what we're going to do, we're going to write these down. So get your pen and paper, and you can do that also at home. We're going to put these on the Let That Sink In Facebook page, and just let that sink in throughout the season, and you're going to see how right I was in all my predictions and how wrong both of these other guys are going to be at the end of the season. So
that's on wax. Just saying.
Sound like you put it on wax, Ryan. I'm trying to.
So stay tuned for these predictions. More Let That Sink In on the other side.
This is Reflog 18, and you are listening to Score on Air.
Hey guys, Matty Ice here, proud alum of the Ohio Media School. Get the training you need to get a job you will love. The Ohio Media School has classes in radio, television, sports broadcasting, and film and video production. Visit BeOnAir.com today to get started. That's BeOnAir.com.
I'm Jake Safranco with your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Now here's the Sports Doc, Dr. Chris Stankovich.
Probably not a week goes by where we don't hear of some story in the sports world about an athlete using steroids or some other performance-enhancing drug. Unfortunately, a lot of these same stories have trickled down to youth sports, and we see an increasing number of kids turning to different means and measures to help improve their sport performance. Steroids, HGH, and even some of the ADHD drugs like Vyvanse, Adderall, and Ritalin have been used to improve focus and on-field performance. It's important that parents watch what their kids are taking, especially when it comes to nutritional supplements. Keep in mind these are not governed by the FDA, and in many cases we don't have enough research to tell whether there will be long-term negative effects. Train right, eat right, do moderate weight training and solid cardio work, and you'll be in the best position to get the most out of your youth sport experience.
This has been your Sports Doc Minute, brought to you by the OHSAA and the Ohio Media School. Enrolling now, visit BeOnAir.com.
The Score wants to make you, a winner. Each week, ScoreOnAir.com is giving away a prize pack that'll knock your socks off.
Ouch, hey, that hurt.
How? First of all, like us on Facebook, and every Monday we will pin up a post to the top of our feed, updating you on what the week's prize and contest details are. Now here, take your socks back. A winner will be selected every week at 7 p.m. Friday on our combat sports show, Tyson's Punch-Out. So give us a call or text to get qualified. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. Here's how to qualify. Message us on Facebook at Your Score on Air or Twitter. Also at Your Score on Air with your name, phone number, email, and date of birth. Or you can just simply call or text any of our live shows at 614-641-0674 and tell them you want to qualify to win T-shirts, sporting memorabilia, and more. This is your home for the new generation of sports talk radio and weekly prize giveaways. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Driven Foundation presents the training camp August 22nd, 2017 at 7 a.m. at the Blackwell Hotel in Columbus, Ohio, featuring co-founder Roy Hall. This is event number 5 in the Driven Foundation Leadership Series. Event will feature multiple guests such as motivational speakers and life coaches and more. So get registered at staydriven.org. Again, registered at staydriven.org. I guarantee it, you don't want to miss this. Training camp with co-founder Roy Hall, August 22nd. Stay driven, everybody.
The Ohio Media School wants you to be part of the first ever Mastermind exhibition on August 17th, 2017 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the Columbus campus. We are teaming up with experts in radio, television, and digital media to help you identify, entertain, and leverage an audience to promote your personal brand. This year's theme is BYOA, Bring Your Own Audience. Don't miss the first ever Mastermind exhibition on August 17th, 2017 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Ohio Media School.
Clemson or Florida State in Florida. Which I feel like mine's it's like the top 4 with the exception of.
With you, Jermaine, and welcome back to Let That Sink In about your conservative picks, because you play to win the game, and you're picking teams that are going to win a lot of games. So again, you're not going to be, edgy like me and probably lose, even though I was just so confident before the break in my picks. So why don't you go ahead as the guest, Jermaine?
Okay.
Looks like you're done over there and making your conference champion picks. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off with what your picks are?
So I got, obviously, Ohio State as the Big Ten champion. I went with Bama for the SEC. Florida State for the ACC, and I feel like I think Herman might turn it around for Texas, and I'm going with them. I hope to see that happen. And then for the Pac-12, I got USC.
And in terms of playoff teams, out of those that you picked, even though they're going to win conference championships, and as you said, Brian, earlier, like that doesn't necessarily mean anything to the playoff committee. Do you see, 4 of those 5 teams being in the playoffs? Do you see maybe other teams? I mean, how do you see the playoffs maybe playing out?
Well, that's a good question, man. I would probably say I could see maybe 3 out of these teams making it, but then there's going to be that wild card, so to speak, that some team might pop up that you didn't even expect that gets the spot in there.
So who do you see making the playoffs? Who's your 3 that you feel like are locks?
That locked in. If Ohio State brings it like they're supposed to, they should be in there. It shouldn't be. They should be able to just get in there. Bama, I think, is going to get in there, and then I think it's going to be either between Clemson or Florida, who I think might be the next team that squeezes in that spot. So, but I don't know about that 4th spot. I think that's open.
Well, let's see. Yeah, you did play it safe.
I played it safe.
But you got a good chance. I mean, what do you think, Brian?
Of his picks?
Yeah.
You definitely played it safe, and I don't think your picks are bad by any means. I think that maybe you just don't exactly know what's going on with the Pac-12, which is no knock against you.
Nobody knows what's going on with the Pac-12.
Exactly, so that's not really that difficult. I mean,
that's the one I can't pick right now. I'm trying to pick that one.
I think that's the easiest one to pick for me. Well, I take that back. Alabama's the easiest one to pick for me. But no one knows what Washington's going to do after they lost all those players on defense.
True, that's true.
It's hard to say. Now, Jake Browning is a really good quarterback. They lost John Ross. I know they bring back a running back and another wide receiver, so they're going to be good. They're a very well-coached team. Chris Peterson is going to have a good team every year. Now, whether that's good enough to win the conference is a different conversation.
So who are your picks then?
So, and I'm basing my Big Ten champion off of the guy that I'm picking to win the Heisman. So I'm going Penn State to win the Big Ten. I'm going with Saquon Barkley to win the Heisman this year.
Okay, all right, strong pick.
They have Michigan at home, and then they're at Ohio State. So that's going to be a tough 2-game stretch for them. But I think I've seen enough from Trace McSorley so far to think that he can get over the hump in both those games. They did win against Ohio State at home. He had a great game in the Rose Bowl last year. I think that those 2 guys alone are good enough with the returning starters that they have on their offensive line as well. But then I went Alabama, chalk in the SEC, Florida State in the ACC just because of everything they're bringing back. Those 2 guys. You talk about I forgot the safety's name already. And then you also have Francois leading that offense. I think that's a really good team. And I'm going Oklahoma State
Okay.
I'm taking the flashy pick.
Yeah, that is the trendy.
It's
That's
the
the
flashy
hot pick.
pick.
That's Mugatu.
Yeah,
he's so hot right now.
Well, Mason Rudolph he's proven over the years that he's a really good quarterback, and they always have offensive weapons that they churn in and out, whether that's at running back or wide receiver or tight end even. I don't know what their offensive line has to offer. I don't know what their defense is going to do. But let's be honest, nobody in that conference plays defense anyway. So I see Mason Rudolph throwing up a bunch of points this year. So that's my pick for the Big 12. And then obviously Samuel Darnold hoisting that sword after they win the Rose Bowl game, because I don't know if they're making a playoff to win the Pac-12.
Who are your playoff teams?
My playoff teams are Penn State, Alabama, Florida State, and Oklahoma State.
Oh man, you're really gonna. So again, yeah, it's gonna be tough for Oklahoma State in a playoff like that.
I'm not saying they're going to win a game in the playoff. I'm just saying. I'm just saying with the teams relative to their schedule, the teams that are in their conference, they can be above easily the most, as opposed to USC, who does have some tougher competition in the Pac-12.
All right, y'all ready for mine? Before we get out of here?
Yeah.
All right. So Big Ten champion, the Ohio State University. I mean, it's just I'm completely biased, and that's the reason.
There's
for
nothing wrong with that.
But I have good reason to think that. You know, we have a lot of talent coming back.
Yeah, they got a great team coming back. So,
in the SEC, I like the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
I love their quarterback, Eason.
Yeah,
Jacob
Eason.
Mm-hmm. He came in a true freshman, the best pro-style quarterback, and I like pro-style quarterbacks.
No,
so.
You like guys that can throw the ball really far.
I
really
like
hard.
guys who can
That's
throw
what
the ball.
you like. You don't like pro-style quarterbacks. You like guys that throw the ball really hard.
I do. No, that can throw the ball very well, and they have Nick Chubb and a deep stable of running backs, and so I like Georgia to be able to get it done in the SEC as a sleeper. You know, I thought about maybe Florida and Alabama. They're definitely the most talented team in the league. However, there's a quarterback controversy there with the freshman they have from Hawaii who's pushing Jalen Hurts. I don't think that's going to be good.
He throws from his hip. He ain't
does.
pushing Jalen Hurts.
He's pushing Jalen Hurts because Nick Saban has come out and said, we got to get this guy some reps.
I don't believe that.
Well, we shall see.
He's very Parcells.
And that's why
in the way that he works his players, he just wants Jalen Hurts to hear his voice.
Look, when Nick Saban was asked about, and the reporter said the word controversy, Nick Saban went through the roof. Controversy? Don't talk about controversy. Da-da-da-da. Oh, there's a controversy. You upset. Yeah.
No, that's Nick Saban. It's preseason. He's crotchety.
Anyway, we run out of time. So my ACC champion is Louisville with the defending Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. I didn't believe in Lamar Jackson at all last season. I'm all the way with him this season because, again, they got a bunch of misfits and a coach that I completely hate because he's a yellow belly.
Man, you're so country for that.
But I'm picking Louisville nonetheless in the ACC, probably the most talented. Well, at least last year. I think there's going to be we're going to see some things happen. You have to be determined who the best conference in college football is this year. But the ACC definitely is coming in, passing that crown from the SEC that had it for so many years. And then my Big 12 champion, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Tom Herman and the Texas Longhorns.
Shane Buechele.
Yeah, old Buechele. We don't get to hear Charlie Strong say Buechele anymore. The biggest chest in football. Say it was chest. But
you can't help it.
Tom Herman, I think he's going to kiss those guys on the cheek and have them playing Texas football. That's what he does. He kisses his players on the cheek before the game, like on the way out. That's what he does. And he says, hey, I kissed my son, and so I'm going to treat all these other people's sons like my son. I think it's pretty weird, but some people like it.
He's winning.
And then finally, my Pac-12 champion, I don't want to go with this, but just on the strength of the coach, Chris Peterson and the Washington Huskies, I feel as though I love what he did, and we see who really was the key to success back at Boise. It wasn't Dan Hawkins. It was Chris Peterson. And he's been able to take that program, and they do this. They have the same style of football.
Yeah. What a great point you make
absolutely,
there.
Absolutely, yes.
So I like Washington in the Pac-12. In terms of the playoffs, I like, even though Alabama won't win the SEC, I like Alabama to still get into the playoffs. and against Ohio State, also a playoff team. Texas, no way they're going to make the playoffs, even though they win the Big 12. And I see Louisville getting into the playoffs just on the Lamar Jackson factor. And that fourth team, I'm with you, Jermaine. I can't figure out who that fourth team is going to be just yet.
Okay.
But it's not going to be a conference champion because, again, I think I may have poo-pooed your whole, conference champions don't matter. But you're right. Conference champions don't matter. And for the playoff, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It means nothing. It's hard. If you're in the Big Ten, it's hard to win the conference. All the best teams are in the same freaking division.
That's true.
Right.
But we shall see this year maybe some comebacks from traditional powers. Maybe Iowa might step up and do something, and Nebraska might step up and do something. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll still see. It's going to be a very exciting season. Kickoff is this Saturday. We're out of time, right?
Technically, yeah. We were out of time 3 minutes ago, but this show goes on.
But Jermaine, Byers,
Yes.
star or co-star, what's the credit on that?
You know what? That was a good question because everybody was like a lead. So I put on my resume co-star or co-lead because we all had a story in that film. So, yeah.
If anything, you were at least the tallest man on set.
I was. I'm usually am.
So go out and see it. Where can the people see the movie? Let that.
I put it on my YouTube channel, but it's not anywhere where anyone can go in and actually because it's locked. But I think it actually might be on the IMDb page of. If you go to look for Reap What You Sow and click on the IMDb page, I think there is a link to it to watch the film on there.
Okay, so we're going to look forward. Go ahead and check that out on IMDb. And also, again, what we're going to do, take a look at the Let That Sink In Facebook page, and we're going to go ahead and put a link to Reap What You Sow on there so we can continue to distribute this amazing film.
Oh, for sure.
And get it on Netflix. That's the campaign right now. Bump boycotting the NFL. Get Reap What You Sow on a Netflix. That's what I'm crusading behind.
Yeah, get that story told, man. It needs to be told because it's a big story behind it. It could be more. It can be more than what it is, for sure.
So that's all we have for you tonight. Join us next week, Tuesday, 8 to 10, for more Let That Sink In. Holler at y'all next week. Go ahead, Brian.
The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl.
Got it off!
Got it off!
Broadcasting from the Score On Air studios at the Ohio Media School in Columbus, Ohio. Your home for all the latest sports news and talk. ScoreOnAir.com. The Score.
Are you a sports fan? Do you have a mobile phone? Great, that's all you need to stay up to date with ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio. With original talk shows starting every 2 hours, covering every sport from every angle.
From basketball
to hockey
to martial arts
to fantasy football.
We cover all Ohio sports. Just go to ScoreOnAir.com or download the TuneIn Radio app and search Score On Air. You'll be part of the action in no time. Whether you're stuck in traffic, at the grocery store, studying at the library, anywhere for that matter. Tune in anytime to get your sports fix. Follow us on social media or go to ScoreOnAir.com for even more original content, including play-by-play of local high school and college games, sports articles, and podcasts. ScoreOnAir.com is your home for the best analysis, coverage, and lukewarm sports takes. The best part, we're broadcasting live right here in Columbus.
OH.
ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio.
The Score.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
The new generation of sports talk radio. Here's your ScoreOnAir.com Score Center update.
This is G-Rob at your Score On Air studios with your Score Center update. Former Ohio State Buckeye had the Clippers number again at Huntington Park in Columbus, Ohio. Pitching the final 1 2/3 innings, he struck out 4 of the 5 batters he faced to lock down Game 2 for the Rochester Red Wings. Offensive highlights in this one for the Clippers were both Yandy Diaz and Tyler Naquin combining for 6 hits, with Naquin driving in 2 on doubles, scoring Michael Martinez both in the first and 8th inning. Adam Pluko takes the mound Thursday afternoon at 12:35 at Huntington Park. Fresh off a 5 home run performance by the Indians Tuesday night in Minnesota, the Tribe and Twins were rained out Wednesday. The two teams will meet Thursday in a day-night doubleheader with Carlos Carrasco in Game 1 and crafty lefty Ryan Merritt starting the nightcap. At Coors Field, the Rockies scored an impressive 17 runs against the visiting Atlanta Braves. Trevor Story was the headline in this one.
Story drives this one, and it'll stay fair, and to get out of here. High fly ball, deep left field. This one's got a chance. This one's gone. A 2-home run night for Trevor Story.
For all your scores, news, and highlights, keep it locked right here. ScoreOnAir.com, The Score.
You're listening to the home of the latest sports news and updates in Columbus.
Streaming live on YouTube and the worldwide TuneIn Radio app. This is ScoreOnAir.com.
You're listening to ScoreOnAir.com, the new generation of sports talk radio in Columbus. Online sports radio, WSOA ScoreOnAir.com, The Score.
Welcome back, everybody, to Tyson's Punch-Out, part of the new generation of sports talk radio here on ScoreOnAir.com. I am your host, Tyson, along with my co-host.
What's up, y'all? It's the Beard.
Return of the Beard.
Return. I need to make a movie.
The movie. All right, man. You want to join the talk? Give us a call, 614-641-0674. You can call or text, debate with us, talk to us about anything, all combat sports, boxing, MMA, etc., etc. I don't think I announced this. I think I announced it last week.
Etc.
Yeah, etc. I will be doing a boxing commentary for OSU versus Michigan Black Friday. Black Friday. Yeah, I met with the coach of OSU, volunteer coach Mark Wallinger. So, our producer here, Jake, helped me.
That's
set
awesome.
That up. Met him last Friday, so that's pretty good. Hopefully, I'll be doing it with somebody. I mean, I'll do it by myself, but yeah,
right.
I mean, I know you would do it, but you're
that's awesome.
You're not a boxing guy
or an emphasis guy.
Well, no, you don't have to be an emphasis guy. Anybody can do it with me.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So, yeah,
But yeah, for sure, that's crazy.
All right. So anyway, enough about me. So we were talking. What we were talking about? We talking about the glove size. That's where we left off. So the gloves, for those who are just joining, the glove size for the Mayweather-Conor McGregor bout on the 26th of this month is going to be voted by the Nevada Athletic State Commission.
I'm guessing this came from the Floyd side, though.
What this information? Well,
to drop the glove size, because I'm doubting it was the Conor side.
Yeah, I mean, he put it out there on Instagram or whatever. He's doing the dare. Conor doesn't care.
That's the thing. It's the whole if I beat him. See, look, I did everything to try for him to win. I put the smaller gloves. I tried to be more.
Put on MMA gloves, and then we'll talk. But
yeah, exactly.
Other than that, whatever. It's boxing. Let the padded gloves be on.
I don't care if it's in a cage. Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, when he said that.